Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Chilltown Hoops. I'm your host, Jermaine. The youngsters call me OG. My friends call me J-Dub. Let's get to it. So, trade deadline is this week. Now, the trade deadline on trade deadline day, which is Thursday, it's much to do about nothing. The fireworks are normally throughout the week. On that day, there's really not much going on. So, the big thing that we've seen so far is Kyrie Irving being moved, right? So Kyrie Irving being moved to Dallas, and this move is a rental. I'm 100% confident in that. I think that Mark Cuban pushed all of his chips to the front of the table exactly like Toronto did with Kawhi Leonard. Now, some people would say Toronto got back a better player, and it was a star for a star. But here's the difference. The difference is Toronto was trying to win the NBA championship. Dallas is trying to win the NBA championship. So, in the process of Dallas trying to win the NBA championship, they're trying to prove to Luka that we're going to do everything that we possibly can to let you know that we are about winning and we're about giving you everything that we possibly can give you in order for you to win. So what does Luka need? Offensively, Luka needs some firepower because he's 95% of their offense. He's their distributor. He's their scorer. He's their playmaker. He's their long ball shooter. He's everything for them. And eventually, he's going to wear down because initially it looks good, but after a while, when you get into the playoffs and you got one ball dominant guy, it doesn't become that difficult to guard. So, what does he need? I always felt like Luka needed a guy that he can go to strictly for buckets. Like a Carmelo Anthony type of guy. It's a Carmelo Anthony type of player. A guy where I don't have to create shots for you. You can create your own shot. You can take the ball off the backboard. You can go with it. You can go. I can sit on the bench and take a rest for 5-10 minutes of actual playing time. And we won't really miss that much of a beat. You could keep us rolling because you're a guy who can get us buckets. And Kyrie Irving is a guy that I think can get him buckets. Now, here's the difference. Here's the difference in that. The difference in that is Luka hasn't played with a guy like Kyrie Irving, a guy that he can actually go to for buckets. Luka is the one that's used to having the basketball in his hands. In the process of him having the basketball in his hands, he's been the primary playmaker. So to now relinquish that, can he do that? Can he play with a guy who doesn't need him to get him off? Can he play with a guy who he can step off and be off ball? Can he play with a guy like that? Because Luka's been the ball dominant guy his entire career, not just in Dallas, when he played in the EuroLeague too. That's his game. I think this is going to be a tremendous challenge for Jason Kidd, because what he now has to do is he now has to design the offense where Luka can play more off ball and share the basketball. See, the great scorers and the great players were able to do that. I mean, as good as Jordan was, Jordan had to get off the ball. In order for us to win, Mike, you got to get off the basketball. So he did. He got off the basketball with John Paxson. He got off the basketball with Scottie Pippen. And he allowed those guys to flourish, which allowed his team to flourish. Same logic with Luka. In order for us to win, Luka's got to get off the basketball. That ball can't stay stuck to his hand. James had to get off the basketball. He did that when he played with Irv. He did that when he played with Dwayne Wade. He did that when he played with Chris Bosh. He has to get off the basketball. I got to get other guys involved. Now, Luka being a willing passer, that's a plus. But there's a difference between being a willing passer and being able to play off the basketball. Being a willing passer means that I have the basketball in my hands. I'm still ball dominant. Playing off the basketball and now having a guy set me up and now me being a threat off the basketball, that brings a complete different dynamic to our offense. Complete different dynamic, because now you got to worry about this guy setting me up as a catch and shoot guy, as a catch and go guy, or in transition. You got to worry about this guy setting me up now. Can Luka play like that? We've never seen him play like that. So that's going to be a challenge for Luka. I still think that this is a rental, but I think that it's a win-win for Dallas. Well, damn, OG, how you figure it's a win-win? I figure it's a win-win because, number one, if they lose, if this doesn't work, they've at minimum proven to Luka, we're trying to get you help. And not only are we trying to get you up, we're going to continue. And that's all a player really wants. If they win and Kyrie Irving walks out the front door, which I think he's going to, I think he's going to end up in Los Angeles. If they win, this is also a win for Dallas because now Dallas becomes even more attractive. And there's a scorer. There's another guy out there that's looking at Luka going, I could really help him. I could really flourish in that offense with him. And Dallas would have Kyrie Irving off their books, plus Finney Smith off their books, plus Dinwiddie off their books, which means that they got a lot of money. And Mark Cuban would be willing to pay. So I think this is a win-win for them. Now, we know who Kyrie Irving is. I mean, this is the other side of this. We all know who Kyrie Irving is and what Kyrie Irving is about. Kyrie Irving has a history of being unreliable, being problematic. He's been inconsistent too, OG. Actually, no. He's been consistent. He's been consistent in his behavior. That's why we know who Kyrie Irving is. That's why we know what he's about. Because he's been consistent in that aspect. His game has never been in question. Never. The question is how is his behavior going to affect this unit? When he was with James, those were some of his most productive years. Made the All-Pro team. They won the NBA championship. He played the most games. 2 of the 3 years that he played with James, he played 75 games and he played 72 games. He hasn't played that many games in his career since he left James. Those were some of the most productive years of his career. But being young, being immature, he wanted to find out what else was going on out there. Not realizing that James was going to turn this whole thing over to him. He was going to turn the whole thing over to him and let you run it. But he couldn't see it that way. Once he found out that he was being shopped, and I don't think that they wanted to trade him, but rumors started to swirl that Cleveland might be shopping him, and the next thing you know, he wants out. I haven't, in all my years of watching pro basketball, I haven't seen a superstar, not a good player, a superstar on a championship unit ask out like that. I mean, Scottie Pippen asked out, and Scottie Pippen asked out for one reason and one reason only. His contract was whack. He wasn't getting paid. It wasn't because of him wanting his own team. If Chicago would have paid him, he would have went nowhere. No doubt about that. Him asking out in Cleveland was very immature on his part. We have a really good situation here, and it probably won't get better than this. And he hadn't been the same since. Now, mind you, this situation in Brooklyn, him asking out, was strictly about money. This has nothing to do with basketball. It was absolutely about money. Nothing else. Kyrie Irving wanted to be extended. Now, let's just say for the sake of argument that Sean Marks asked or put a contract on the table for him. 4 years, $198 million. But there was a whole bunch of incentives in it. Does Kyrie Irving sign that? No, he does not. If Sean Marks puts a contract on the table 4 years, $198 million guaranteed, and there aren't that many incentives in it. Does he sign it? Yes. He doesn't sign the first contract because, number one, this isn't the NFL. Pro basketball players play on guaranteed deals. They don't play on incentive-laced contracts, no. And Kyrie Irving wanted assurance. Sean Marks was not going to pay him, because if he was going to pay him, he would have paid him last summer when he had an opportunity to pay him. I think Marks is out on Kyrie Irving. I think he's out of the Kyrie Irving business. And I think he was out of the Kyrie Irving business last year. I think that they accommodated him. I think that they accommodated Kyrie Irving. And not only did they accommodate Kyrie Irving, they accommodated themselves as well. Well, how do you figure? Well, figure Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris's money comes off the books. It's $38.7 million. They bring in Finney-Smith and Dinwiddie. They save $6.19 million. Right? They do that, which drops now their payroll from 185 to 178. That also drops their tax bill. So drops their tax bill and saves them $12 million. So they save $6.19 million on the payroll, $12 million on their tax bill. So this deal alone saves them over $18 million. That's good business. That's good business. From a basketball standpoint, you look at this crew, and I'm going to run down the five for you. So we got Dinwiddie, Finney-Smith, Royce O'Neal, KD, Claxton. And you're being backed up with Curry, TJ Warren, Wannabe, Sumner, just to name a few guys. Is this team good enough to win the Eastern Conference Championship? I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say no. What did this crew get together for? Why did Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant get together? They got together to win it. Because they got together to win it, they haven't come close to winning it. So why are we holding on to KD? What are we holding on to KD for? He already axed out last summer. Now, there's some people who are going to tell me that Kyrie Irving is the X factor here. This is addition by subtraction. I don't think so. The Eastern Conference has gotten that much better. Not only has the Eastern Conference gotten that much better, KD is coming off an injury, which is the same injury that he had last year. Not only is it the same injury that he had last year, it's to the same knee. So his game is still effective, but KD's starting to slow down. KD is starting to slow down. So is this team good enough to win the Eastern Conference Championship? I don't think so. So because they're not good enough to win the Eastern Conference Championship, what are we holding on to KD for? With the James Harden trade, trading for James Harden, we had to give up a bunch of picks. A bunch of picks. Sure we did. And when we traded James Harden to Brooklyn, we were able to get some of those picks back. Maybe we can get some of these picks. Maybe we can get some more picks if we move off of Kevin Durant. Ben Simmons has proven that he doesn't have any value right now. That might change in a year, 2 years, but as of right now, he doesn't have any value. This Brooklyn experiment has been, for lack of a better term, it's been a dumpster fire. It's been a failed project. And there's no reason to hold on to Kevin Durant. None whatsoever. So, with that being said, how do these guys move forward? How does Brooklyn move forward? Because when you look at this roster, they're not better than Philly. They're not better than Milwaukee. And they're not better than Boston. Neither of those teams they're better than. With the subtraction of Kyrie Irving, they're not better than any of those teams. So at best, where are we? We're a second round exit? Maybe. If not a first round exit. Because in the second round, they're going to have to see a top 3 seed. They're going to have to see Philly. They're going to have to see Boston. They're going to have to see Milwaukee. I don't think they beat any of those teams. So at best, what are we? We're a second round exit. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? It's going to be interesting to see how this thing unfolds with these two teams, with this team in particular. I'm really interested to see how Brooklyn handles this. Very much so. I would be surprised if Kevin Durant was still on the roster by the trade deadline, but you never know with this group. So it was great to see you guys. You know where to find me. It's basketball season, guys. So I'm around. I'm not hard to find. So I'll see you soon. But until then, take it light, but take it.